look great naked, like it might be the thing that gets people in, right? What does that give you? Because is it, again, yeah, is it to be able to play a game? Is it to be able to go on a hike and do these things? That's where understanding, I like your analogy. I was actually drawing a pie on my notebook over here as you said that. And I was kind of thinking even like making a player like Madden or something like that, you got all these attributes you can give in any different area. And it changes as you go through that journey, as you mature, as you go through different stressors in your life. And like you have to be able to decide, what point do I need to put more emphasis on the conditioning, or the example of the NFL athlete? Hey, when do we need to maybe focus a little bit more on, the elasticity versus the pure baseline foundation of strength, which might have been the best thing for him when he was in high school. A lot of people get stuck in trying to do the same thing that they did previously, thinking that's going to get them to the new level, without understanding how to make these finer tweaks across the board, which really bring in that ultimate human potential, becoming that lifelong athlete. One thing that you hit on specifically, always trying to focus on something that's going to train high threshold motor units, those fast twitch muscle fibers, something like that. What is the importance for that for longevity? For somebody who's maybe not necessarily playing a sport, but say they're 30, they're 40, they're 50, 60, 70, like why is that important?
This statistic, I'll give a couple, right? The first thing that we lose with aging is not strength, it's not muscle mass, it's power, right? It's being able to turn on. I mean, it's the whole like, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So, but now look at, the stat that if you're over 55 years old, 1 out of 3 people that fall break their hip. I mean, that's insane. And by the way, breaking your hip, the recovery is ridiculous. It takes about a year, it's 9 to 12 months, I think. The average person puts on a lot of weight because you're so immobile, right? You can't really do much. I would have to look back into the stats, but the stats of like the mortality after you break your hip goes up significantly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it would actually blow your mind. You'd think I was lying. I can't pull it off the top of my head, but it's nuts. Greatly reduces the quality of life. Mortality goes up. But what is falling? I mean, when you fall, it is your agility, your response time. It's the quickness of when you can catch yourself. Both my mom and my dad, but my mom has Parkinson's. And like in the last 2 years, she takes certain meds and stuff like that lower her blood pressure. Also, she hasn't done them. We now have a physical therapist that comes to the house to start doing drills and strength training for the last year, because she would basically, get a little lightheaded and then she would fall and she wouldn't have the reflexes to catch herself. And she would always break a bone, break the femur, break the hand, which really, when you look at power training, the quality of your life. And so if you're thinking like, well, listen, I don't go out and play flag football. No, it's not that. The amount of things that happen in your life that are like, you trip and you have to quickly refoot yourself. Or imagine like your kid is falling. Oh shit. Your reaction and reflex, whether you have it. I've seen this, by the way, 15 years ago, I had a really bad back injury. And I've seen in real life a child jump on a parent unexpectedly. The parent catches them and blows their back out. Okay. I've seen this happen in live multiple times, because the slow reflexes, they get caught in a bad position. And we could go down the list. I mean, a forever long list of why you would need that, which also, by the way, being able to turn on high threshold motor units is related well to also strength, right? So force is mass times acceleration. In the fitness industry, thankfully there's more and more people talking about this, but people only focus on the mass part. I lifted heavier. I'm a big fan of VBT monitors, right? Velocity-based training. Yeah. Because they give me, we use it with athletes, but I use it myself because now, and if you've ever done, a trap bar deadlift, and let's say I can deadlift in the low 500s right now, and I would look at my actual power output. Then I'd put on 405 and lift it as fast as I possibly can. My power would be higher than it is with, like, for instance, 515. What's going on here now? I'm actually, I was saying, engaging more high threshold motor units than I did with a really heavy lift. And so there's, again, like I do a lot of this even with general population where we will, throw lighter stuff. That would be that 10 to 30%, and then go into that power. And then we do strength speed where we're using 50 to 75% of loads and moving it fast. And here's what's cool about it. A client might be coming in and going like, man, I'm toasted. If I told them like, hey, we're going to lift really heavy today, mentally, they're like, don't worry, we're going to use 50% of load. And I show them a VBT monitor and show them how fast they're lifting. So they have a feedback. We can go like, hey, listen, 2 weeks ago, you were lifting at this speed. You're actually lifting faster, producing more force. So it has so many different, I would say, positives, right? That's like that transfer over to life, but also that can make lifting more fun, more competitive, right? Because it's like you can lift lighter weights and get after it. And we've had, crews in semi-private where they're like, oh man, 1.2 meters per second. Let's go, and now they're like racing, ripping, and getting the most force production that they've ever gotten, the velocity curve from strength to speed. And most people just like lift heavy in those kind of slower,
Neglect everything else.
neglect everything else. But we need those things. We need those, whether you want to be an athlete for life and play basketball with your kids or football or this, that, go play pickup games. But it's just, there's so many things that happen in a day that, like I had to go up on a roof of the building that I own, and I have to like glue stuff and shovel like 50 pounds of leaves in one shovel stroke off. People are doing stuff like this every day. These are all athletic movements. When I'm shoveling, I have to lunge, I have to lift and rotate, have rotary power. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you could film a human being that says, I don't give a shit about sport, and film them throughout the day. And you're going to see, 50 instances of where they have to be athletic. And if they're not, it's going to beat up their joints. The risk of injury goes up, nagging, aching joints. It just transfers to so many different things. And what I think about is like, many times I'm going to hide the medicine inside of the dessert. It's like I have to do it for my
Yeah.
dog. Lucy doesn't want to, she's like, I know what that shit is. I'm not eating it. Boom, I put that little thing in peanut butter, man, she crushes it. And so
Game over.
Game over. So it's like your podcast, like, is look great naked, right? Absolutely. And at the beginning, extrinsic motivation. But here's the thing. I'm going to be like, hey, listen, when we can activate high threshold motor units, this is going to really help you with building lean muscle. Right. And hey, the more lean muscle that we have, it's going to burn more calories 24/7. I'm going to attach the thing to what they want. And they're like, oh, cool. Awesome. Right. But now I got them doing my athletic things. And what's going to happen is after a while, they go like, man, I like doing this athletic shit. I did, I had a guy that came in, is in my small group, and he's like, yo, I played ball yesterday. This is crazy. Like, I move better. My step back, I get an extra foot on my step back, dude. That's nuts. But again, came in for one reason. Now he's going to hoop, and he's like, this is transferring so well. Holy shit. Even more bought in. That's essentially what we end up doing, right? I'm looking at it and going, I'm going to give you what you want, but man, I know you need these things. And so I'm going to sneak them in, but eventually I'm going to connect those two stories, and you're going to start loving the things that we're doing and understanding how important it is for your life. And then you're going to be like, nope, I got to do athletic stuff, right? And that's the mindset behind athlete for life. Because a lot of people, when I talk to them, it's like, well, Luka, like, yeah, you still go hoop and you box and you do all these things, and like, I don't really care about that. You have to like really, then I'll ask them questions. Hey, what do you do about, like, what do you do? Well, I go to this, I go to this, I go to this. And then you start realizing that they're actually doing a lot of athletic stuff. And they're like, yeah, my back does kind of hurt and my hips and this. And you're like, man, you don't have to have that, because this belief that this is just how it is. We just age, and, we get slower and we get weaker. And that's not true. That's just not true. And that belief system is a lot of times driving you to not exercise in a certain way. Now, yes, we have to be smart. Like, I have a little bit of this is a little bit generic, but a rule for most, 40 to 50 jumps / contacts per week when people start off with. Instead of doing plyometrics, we're going to do jump training. We're going to land on a box, right? We're going to do throws. We might do a sled or prowler. We're going to get their tissues to adapt to this and not go gung-ho, and then build it back up. I think that's the other mistake, right? That's like you read a magazine and it's like, Adrian Peterson's workout, DK Metcalf's training session. And it's like, yeah, man, I read that in a magazine, so I went and did it. And I pulled something. I'm like, of course you did, right? I mean, you can't just emulate people. You have to have a program that's made for you for where you are. I just look at the GPS. You are here on a GPS. You want to go here. Let's build a path, right? But it's going to be unique to you and based on your training history, your injury history, your preferences, lifestyle, a lot of these different things. But to say, I don't need that is nuts. Now, look, if you're a bodybuilder and that's your competition, and you're like, all I give a shit about is like being on stage winning a bodybuilding competition, what I'm saying might not be for you, even though what I'm saying is still relevant. Majority of the people, I coach, that I talk to, and now there's a lot of people, no one doesn't want the go. No one doesn't want the performance. No one.
Yeah, and I think that's such a big component. I think a lot of people as well in the fitness industry, they get disenchanted with like some of the body composition stuff as well, because they've tried it. They've tried the ultra strict meal plans, these different diet protocols, all these things that don't have any sustainability or practicality with where they are. And they think that it's my way or the highway. One thing that I've realized when it comes to incorporating these athletic-based principles, whether we're talking about jumps, doing things that are more on the speed strength realm, whatever it is, it's fun. They enjoy it, and they start to see that carryover. It's like, this is a different way to train than I have before. I'm really getting enjoyment out of it. And then again, depending on what level they are, they're still seeing many of those body composition changes, because it could be anything from activating high threshold muscle motor units, which can also obviously help provide that baseline of strength, which by extension can allow you to do more overall volume and load. It's like they're all connected. It just comes down to understanding what piece of the pie you delegate in what area, and then keeping it true and congruent with where you are on the GPS and applying it directly to your life. Look, man.
And if I can share one story in one rant, right?
Yeah.
The story is this. Have you ever, like, we do a lot of, we do semi-private training, athlete groups, we do groups, small group personal training. Take a group of people. I don't give a shit who they are. Like, 57-year-old lady, 22-year-old guy, 41-year-old guy with hip replacement. Make them do a competitive drill. Knee tap, shoulder tap drill. We do these for warm-ups sometimes. Or in a crawl position, tap the shoulder, right? They're moving around. And then watch their face. Everybody starts smiling. Everybody starts competing. Yeah. It's taking them back to like when you were a child and you're playing games and you're free and fun. And it's like, but they're doing that while they're getting more athletic. We'll do prowler races, right? We'll do so many different, and it's like people just, it's like something happens, right? Even the person that's like, I just want to get healthier and lose weight. Boom, all of a sudden they're like, you see their face and they're smiling, right? Guarantee you'll see that everywhere. Now, of course, adapt the drill to the audience. So that's one thing that I'm like, when you bring it up and you say it's fun, absolutely, it's cool. Older person, I'm like, hey, listen, you had a rough week. Yeah, man. Like, okay, if you break this dynamo, I will give you $50. You don't have to pay me. I'll give you $50. Sometimes, I had cutouts, put my face on the ground and be like, I know you don't like me right now. And they're throwing it at my face, and right, it's fun. It's fun. But so that's my first point, is like creating like people do have inside of them something that makes them want to compete. Right? And we just have to bring him back out and keep it safe.
Did you find this helpful? If so, pound that like button and hit subscribe. Now, if you want a free copy of our Chiseled Muscle Cheat Sheet, the no BS way to help you lose body fat and build lean muscle in 90 days, make sure that you go to the description below and download your free copy. Any questions? Drop them in the comments, and can't wait to see you with the next video.